Has anyone ever told you that your trauma is actually the least interesting thing about you? I remember the first time that I heard that, I was a little bit shocked. Because up until that point, I had unconsciously made my trauma my entire self identity. And it wasn't until I was able to heal from and process my trauma that I was able to pick out the patterns and my behaviors and my thoughts and my words that I spoke and be able to determine what of those actually was me wanting to act that way and not a trauma response. My childhood trauma, for me personally, had made me believe the idea that there was something inherently wrong with me and that I was weird and not like other people, which made me feel totally isolated. And those beliefs actually followed me into my adulthood as I chose to be in relationships with people that confirmed those negative self-beliefs through their actions and the way that I allowed them to treat me. My trauma made me believe that people in the world was a scary and dangerous place to live in. And since that was what I believed, that was constantly what was being shown to me in my projected reality. It wasn't until that I healed and processed my trauma and I realized that the world is actually both. It's a scary place, but it's also a really, really beautiful place. And people also can be bad people and do bad things, but there's also an equal number of good people out there that are ready to be a real connection for me and support me in my journey the entire way and be an authentic friendship and relationship. I personally used to walk around in my life afraid to talk to anyone, literally scared to, especially if they were a new person or someone that was like at work or a job that I felt like I had to put on a certain front and act a certain way. It was all because I wasn't living out of my authentic self and I was constantly putting on and wearing different masks that I thought would be appropriate at the time. But at the time, I didn't even know how to be my authentic self yet because I was still basically living out of my trauma responses. And after healing from trauma and doing the EMDR therapy that helped me, it's so fun being able to reinvent myself into this adult that I know can protect myself. And so I feel safe and I can literally create my self-identity in whoever I want to be. But nurturing that inner child and making sure that she feels safe and remembering that I am safe at all times as long as I am with myself is the biggest part, I think, of healing from my trauma that allowed me to be able to create this amazing new sense of self-identity that I have. I low-key went from being a depressed addict, alcoholic who laid in bed like all day when she wasn't at work and just ultimately felt completely terrible about who I was as a person and the world around me, to a spiritual goddess badass who loves people, has amazing friendships and relationships with family and everyone around me, who loves myself and truly believes that I can do anything that I set my mind to. I don't even like saying negative things out loud about myself anymore, such as the ways that I used to think about myself, because I have such a strong belief that our thoughts and our words create our reality. Ultimately, this sense of new identity existed within me the entire time. It had just been layered and buried beneath all of the trauma and the stuff that had piled up in my life over time, so I wasn't able to access her. Our innate souls and beings hold value just because they were born into this planet, and no one soul is more valuable than the next, or less valuable than the next. And all I really needed to create this sense of identity that I absolutely love was the ability to feel safe within my body, within my mind, within myself, and within the world. I had to create that sense of safety for myself. Once I felt that sense of safety and I did the therapy that I did, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was kind of just like a flip switched in my brain that allowed me to believe that I can do whatever I want to do and be whoever I want to be. But it takes consistent effort on a day-to-day basis to keep this sense of new identity in place and make sure that I continue to manifest it into my current reality. There's a saying in the sober community that you have to change your people, places, and things in order to stay sober and to stay happy and to stay emotionally fulfilled. And that's exactly what I did. I changed my environment. I moved from the Midwest to a coastal state. I completely changed the type of people that I hang out around. All the people that I hang out around now are people who I feel safe to be my full 100% authentic self, and they support me 100% in my journey. And I surround myself with people who have similar values and spiritual beliefs as me. I change the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. I make time to make sure that I spend time in nature and heal my inner child by doing things like meditating. Not daily, I'm not doing it daily, but just enough whenever I feel like I need to stay aligned. I've started doing things like kayaking and hiking and going to live music events and open poetry nights. And overall, I've set a basic routine for myself, as well as make sure that I have something fun to look forward to every week. I've even gone so far as to change the music I listen to, the food that I put in my body, like the nutrients I put in my body, my job. I've changed everything. But it all, of course, first stemmed down to changing my thoughts about myself and the world. It had to be the main priority and what happened first in order to be able to change all these other things externally. Ultimately, I always try to do something new at least once a week, try something new that I haven't tried before to see if I like it. And that also helps me build up the courage to continue to do things and find things that I like that are suitable for this new self-identity that I have created. A huge thing, though, was me wanting to change, having that willingness to actually do the work, like the inner child work, the therapy, to do the hard work of reframing our belief systems in order to change. You have to want that. You have to really want to not be, a depressed, mentally ill person anymore. At least that's what I had to experience, because I didn't actually change until I was 100% on board and wanted to, because I knew that I couldn't live the way that I was living anymore. I feel like once I was willing to and able to and open to seriously want to change, the universe just kind of provided me with the options and the people and the therapists in my life that allowed that to happen for me. Here you can see I'm meditating, and some things that I like to do before I meditate are stretch so that any physical anxiety in my body can be released. And while I'm meditating, I do like to kind of think or say out loud affirmations to myself. Some of them that I say are, I am divinely connected, I am divinely protected, I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And anytime that my brain kind of strays away from the meditation and starts to think, which brains will obviously do, you just bring it back to the center and refocus on those affirmations. And that's kind of a good analogy for healing after trauma. There's always going to be things that happen in life and things that may feel like setbacks, but anytime that happens, all you have to do is redirect your thinking and make sure that you center yourself and make sure that you know that you are safe and know that healing is not linear and that you have the power to be anyone you want. Love you guys.